Plusieurs choses que j'aime pas dans la proposition du gouvernement, mais la principale, puis je vais en nommer plus qu'une, c'est l'indexation qui serait conditionnelle sur l'expérience financière du régime. La raison pour laquelle cette disposition n'est pas appropriée, c'est que c'est une approche comptable qui est perverse, en ce sens que si on veut donner de l'indexation, il faut en tenir compte dans le coût du régime. Alors, le coût du régime ne sera pas baissé, on va payer pour l'indexation, l'argent va rentrer dans les fonds, mais elle ne sera pas du côté du passif. Il n'y aura aucun passif détenu pour ça alors qu'il y a un actif, parce qu'on veut se servir de ce fonds-là pour parer à d'autres problèmes du régime qui vont arriver. Alors, c'est une proposition qui est inacceptable, inappropriée. Elle est perverse, comme j'aime bien le dire. L'autre chose que j'aime pas, c'est qu'on a fait un bon diagnostic des problèmes courants du régime, mais la médication qu'on propose est trop compliquée. Et même si elle était simple, on a demandé qu'on nous produise un rapport actuariel sur l'effet de ce médicament-là. Et on ne sait pas si elle a été faite, mais on nous a répondu, vous ne l'aurez pas parce que ce n'est pas pertinent. Alors, ce n'est pas une réponse responsable.
Pensez-vous que le risque est assumé par les retraités?
Les retraités et les actifs, parce que l'indexation s'applique non seulement aux pensions quand elles commencent à payer, mais aussi la façon dont la pension est calculée, ça va être basé, ça serait dorénavant basé sur le salaire moyen de carrière, mais indexé selon l'inflation. Alors, si l'expérience du régime n'est pas bonne, bien, quand on va établir la pension au moment de la retraite, on va regarder s'il y a de la place pour l'indexation.
Quel conseil vous donnez à la coalition et aux retraités? Est-ce que vous avez un conseil?
Oui.
What advice would you provide to the Pension Coalition?
Le conseil que je donne, ce n'est pas nécessairement uniquement à la coalition, mais c'est à tous les intervenants dans le régime de retraite, y compris le gouvernement qui a le pouvoir de décision là-dedans. C'est qu'il faut se réasseoir à la table et étudier une proposition de changement qui va être plus songée, plus réfléchie et plus simple, en regardant principalement la structure financière du régime avant de regarder à la réduction des prestations. On n'a pas d'objection à ce que des prestations soient réduites si jamais une réforme financière n'était pas capable d'accomplir tout le travail, mais regardons en premier la gouvernance et l'architecture financière du régime. Yes, I was saying that my advice is not to the coalition only, it's to all constituents of the pension plan, the government, the actuaries, the members, active, retired. The point is that we have to go back to the drawing table and find a solution that makes sense, because the one that is proposed does not. And sitting at the table doesn't mean that we should avoid reducing future accruing benefits, but we first have to look at the financial architecture of the plan. There is a problem there because members, I sense, would be ready to share the cost 50-50, but not what they are told now is that you will pay more and your benefits will be reduced. Will they pay more than 50%? We don't know. No report was produced on what the proposed solution would do.
Where do we go from here? The bill is in its second reading in the House today. So what's your next move?
Okay, so the question is, the bill is in its second reading today, so what do you propose?
If I may answer that, we want a reversal. We want a reversal before the election. If not, there will be a reversal after the election.
How realistic is that?
Well, how realistic is it for people to come to their senses? We think that what we have here is a group of 4 who have showed that we have similarities in our desires. Obviously, that should show strength. We think the government should be fair, and how realistic is that? You'll have to ask them.
But you've gone before the government, protested outside of the legislature before, and clearly they're still going ahead. So what steps will you take to get the reversal that you haven't already done?
So the question is, what steps will Pension Coalition take to get the reversal?
I think that what we have here is a collaboration. We will continue that dialogue. We're going to keep on an ongoing relationship and develop the linkages we need to over time to do what we need to do. We just have the legislation tabled. We all need time to review that, and we have to look at where we go from here.
Is court action still a possibility?
That was always an option. It definitely still is there. It was never the one we wanted at the top end of the process, but it definitely is not off the table, and it definitely is something we will continue to explore and have already begun that process.
Je me demande si ça peut être un précédent, ceci, si ce qui arrive au Nouveau-Brunswick, que si ça marche ici, que d'autres gouvernements vont suivre.
The question is, can the implementation of shared risk in New Brunswick be a precedent, and would other jurisdictions use the system?
We're very concerned from a federal public service that, yes, that it's a model that's going to translate across the country. As many of you have been following pension legislation and litigation over the last number of years, the Professional Institute and the other bargaining agents challenged the government on their taking of the $30 billion surplus of the federal plan. And we challenged that in court, and we lost the case. But we lost it on the grounds, and this is in the script of the courts, the fact that it was guaranteed, i.e. that the government could take the surplus because the benefits to the retirees was guaranteed. Now, I would put to you that so should it be in the province of New Brunswick, guaranteed.
Aussi, pour répondre à la question, si on a des préoccupations, que ça va impacter hors de ce plan ici, les CFP, on a des grosses préoccupations que cette vision ici va être amenée dans les autres plans de pension dans le secteur public au Nouveau-Brunswick. Puis aussi des grosses préoccupations que ça va être proposé puis essayer d'être implémenté dans nos municipalités. Ça fait que oui, pour le point de vue du SFP, on a des grosses préoccupations que ça va aller en dehors de ce plan ici.
We've talked about the haste in putting this plan into action. To what extent do you think the coming election is a factor in the way the New Brunswick government has moved on this?
To what extent would the coming election have as effect on the pension program?
I think it has a great impact on the speed with which this is being done. I think it's not, government has touted this as a way to make the pension sustainable. I think if one cuts away with all the smoke and mirrors, it's done to make sure that the pension liability is off the government books as we go into an election. So therefore, there is a better rating, a better ability to borrow money, and everything that entails.
There's been an implication that this might start affecting other groups as well, teachers within the province. Is there a worry that this is going to spread?
So the question is, there's potential for this to impact on other groups, teachers being one of them. So basically the question is,
Are you worried it's going to spread? What is that
are you
mean?
concerned
What
about
does that
it
mean?
being spread?
Yeah, well, certainly from CUPE's perspective, we're very concerned about that. We believe now that the intentions of this government is to roll this plan out, or this shared risk model, to all the public pension plans in New Brunswick. And we've got some very well-funded and well-run pension plans that don't need this type of of conversion. You know, I describe it as taking a chainsaw into an operating room. You don't need that extreme measure in all cases. And, you know, as I mentioned when I spoke, there's a place for this, but certainly every pension plan isn't the case. It isn't a one-size-fits-all for all pension plans in this province.
D'accord.
Comment avancer, vous, dans vos délibérations pour une poursuite? Puis, comment vous allez faire pour payer ça si vous arrivez
Okay, the question is, in regards to legal action, where are we at and how are we going to pay for it?
In regards to the coalition, obviously, legal action is something that will have to be paid by the members. The members have shown great support to us in the past, and we're expecting that same support in the future as we move forward. In regard to where do we go, as I said, we have to look at the details and determine where our best avenues are, but legal action is not off the table.
In respect to the Professional Institute, we have been involved, as I mentioned earlier, in litigation around pension issues, and we're currently doing an assessment as well, and it's not off the table for us. We're certainly have resources of our 60,000 members across the country to fight a legal battle if we have to, and it's not off the table. We're doing an assessment, and we'll be speaking with colleagues about the approaches.
Puis pour le point de vue du SCFP, on vient juste de demander un avis légal, on ne l'a pas encore eu, s'il y a des possibilités de recours judicial. Mais comment est-ce qu'on va ressourcer ça? Bien sûr, ça va être l'ensemble de nos 630 000 membres à travers du pays qui vont aider à ressourcer ces actions-là.
Next question. Okay, we. The question is, what would we use as arguments to contest the shared risk in court?
I think, as any good lawyer would say to you, that's not to reveal in public.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we shall bring the press conference to close, and we want to thank you very much for your attendance. But in closing, I'd like to ask the Chair of Pension Coalition to provide a few comments. Bonnie?
Just a couple of clarifications. You see them referring always to this document, the third rail, and touting Jim Leach as the one that's saying everything that government's doing is fine. If you stop at the early pages, you might read that or think that. But if you read the book, there are some interesting concepts, and I challenge you to look at them. Page 45 says, if defined contribution plans were good enough for the Irvings, Alward and some key cabinet members believed they were good enough for the rest of the province. Page 143, Leach says, and we've heard that defined benefits programs should not be thrown out. He states on page 143, the most reliable and cost-effective retirement savings vehicle available in Canada is the defined benefit plan. They believe that the approach to move from defined benefit to defined contribution is misguided. So, as I've said in the past, it's important to read between the lines. It's important to look at what's said. Sometimes we get just snippets, and we don't get the full picture. I think that the importance of today's conference is to try to put some of the realisms and the facts in front of you, and to show that we will continue to work together in an approach of an ongoing relationship and develop the linkages we need to make sure that we fight this so that there is a reversal before the election, if not a reversal after the election, and that we do what needs to be done within PSSA. We are available to discuss. We are open to changes. We were never adverse to changes, and we will be part of what needs to happen on a go forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the media.